If you want to win in life, you have to start by winning the first battle of the day, the morning. Most people roll out of bed reacting to life. But the winners, they create the morning. And by doing that, they create their life. Success doesn't shout. It whispers early in the morning, when no one's watching. When the world is quiet, the achievers are already ahead. Not because they had more hours than you, not because they had more talent, but because they respected the first hour of the day. They owned it. The way you begin your day tells life what to expect from you. You can't sleep in and expect to rise up. You can't hit snooze and expect to hit your goals. That first decision to get up with purpose or to roll over with excuse sets the tone for everything that follows. Discipline compounds. You set a strong tone in the morning, and it ripples into your decisions all day long. You feel sharper, more focused, and most importantly, you feel in control. And when you feel in control, you stop living by chance and start living by choice. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to squeeze more out of a day than most do in a week. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. And those systems usually begin with a structured, intentional morning. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things first. Your morning is your private sanctuary before the noise of the world kicks in. It's where you can read, reflect, plan, pray, write, exercise, whatever centers you. That's where the real transformation happens. In those quiet moments when most are still asleep and you're already investing in your growth. You don't need a 10-step routine. You just need ownership. Ownership of your energy, your thoughts, your time. You don't owe the world your first hour. You owe yourself. Because if you give yourself that 1 hour with purpose, the other 23 will start to align. Remember this. Every morning, you get to cast the vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Are you casting votes for excellence or for excuse? Because those little choices, getting up early, moving your body, reading something enriching, reviewing your goals, those little things add up, and eventually they become the big things. Don't let the pillow become your prison. Don't let the bed rob you of your better future. Every day is a blank page, but if you don't pick up the pen early, someone else will start writing your story for you. So make this a decision, not a phase. Win your morning, because when you do, you've already won the hardest part of the day. And if you can win the hardest part, you can win the whole day. And if you can stack enough of those days, you will win your life. Mornings set the tone for your entire day. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's a foundational truth for anyone who wants to rise above mediocrity. The way you begin determines how you carry yourself through the hours that follow. It's like the strike of the tuning fork that dictates the pitch of every note that comes after. If you begin with intention, focus, and discipline, everything else seems to follow suit. But if you begin rushed, distracted, or reactive, the rest of the day becomes a patchwork of trying to recover lost ground. See, life doesn't respond well to disorder. When your morning is chaotic, you're already behind. You're catching up instead of moving ahead. But when your morning starts with clarity, everything aligns. You become more thoughtful, more centered, and far more effective. Here's the truth. Most people never really start their day. They just stumble into it. They roll out of bed because they have to. They check their phones before they check in with themselves. They answer the world before they've even answered their own soul. And they wonder why they feel scattered, why they feel overwhelmed, why their goals always feel just out of reach. The winners, on the other hand, treat the morning like sacred time. They don't just wake up, they rise up with purpose, with structure, with a plan. They understand that those first moments are a gift, and they use them wisely. They reflect, they plan, they read, they move their body, they connect with their spirit, because they know that how they begin is how they continue. The morning gives you leverage. Think of it as the handle that turns the wheel of your entire day. If you grip that handle with strength and direction, the wheel moves smoothly. But if you ignore it, if you let it spin on its own, you lose momentum before you've even started. Momentum is not found at noon or 3 p.m. It's built in the morning. Well, when you win the morning, you feel it in your decisions. You eat better, you think clearer, you speak with more conviction, you work with more focus. Because you're not reacting to the day, you're leading it. And when you lead your day, you start to lead your life. People often ask, what's the secret to being consistent, to being successful, to being at peace? It starts with this. Take control of your first hour, because that hour is not just a part of the day, it's the seed of the day. And whatever you plant in that hour grows. Plant frustration, distraction, laziness, and guess what? That's what you'll harvest all day long. But plant gratitude, movement, learning, and strategy, and the rest of the day begins to serve you. A strong morning builds inner strength, and that strength becomes your shield when the unexpected shows up, because it always does. The challenges, the demands, the noise of the world, they're coming. But if your soul has already been anchored early, you don't get tossed around so easily. You also start to trust yourself more. When you tell yourself you're going to wake up at a certain time and follow a plan, and then you do it, you build internal credibility. That's where self-confidence comes from, not from luck or applause. It comes from keeping your own word, especially when no one is watching. And who's watching you at 5:30 in the morning? No one. That's the point. You earn your future in the moments when it's easy to compromise. You shape your legacy not when the spotlight is on, but when the alarm rings and you choose to rise. That's where greatness hides, in the quiet decision to own your morning before the world makes its demands. It's easy to say, I'll do it later. But you know what else is easy? Regret. Miss enough mornings and you start to miss the version of yourself you were supposed to become. So don't leave it to chance. Don't let your day decide who you'll be. You decide. Start with the morning. Win it. Own it. Respect it. And in doing so, you'll start to notice, almost like magic, that your days improve, your weeks shift, your years align. And one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't luck. It was the decision to begin each day with excellence that changed everything. Discipline in the morning is the seed from which the fruit of the day grows. If you can master the discipline of the first hour, you'll find that everything else, your thoughts, your actions, your choices, begins to fall in line. Most people underestimate how powerful those early moments are. They think the day starts when they arrive at work, or when the meetings begin, or when the world comes knocking. But the day truly begins the moment you open your eyes and make that first decision. Do I take charge, or do I drift? Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't make a scene. It starts quietly when the alarm goes off and the voice in your head says, just 10 more minutes. Discipline is the whisper that answers, get up now, your future is waiting. And when you listen to that voice early, you train your mind to obey even when it's hard. That obedience doesn't just stay in the morning, it carries into everything else. You eat better, you work sharper, you talk with more clarity. You're not chasing the day, you're leading it. You see, discipline is like a muscle. Every time you exercise it, it grows stronger. And the best time to train it is when the world is still asleep. When there's no applause, no distractions, just you and your will. You think, how could I not do that? You think, what does this matter? This is just you. You prove yourself. You prove to yourself. You prove to your people. You prove to yourself. And the best time to train it is when the world is still asleep. When there's no other distractions, just you. You prove yourself. You prove to yourself. The best time to train it is when the world is still asleep. When there's no distractions, just you. You prove to yourself. That's where character is forged. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of routine. The person who practices discipline in the morning walks into the day already a step ahead. They're not reactive. They're proactive. They don't get thrown off by small frustrations because they've already built internal momentum. They've already invested in themselves before the world asks anything of them. And here's the key: momentum compounds. When you start your day with discipline, you activate something inside you, a sense of pride, a sense of control. And that feeling bleeds into the next hour and the next. It's like setting a thermostat. If you set your internal temperature early, you won't freeze when the cold winds of the day blow. You stay consistent because you've anchored yourself. But if you skip that morning discipline, if you let comfort win, you start the day already in debt. You spend the rest of your time trying to catch up. That's a hard way to live. It's draining. You end up frustrated not because you aren't capable, but because you never built the runway to take off. And let's be honest, the discipline we avoid early becomes the regret we carry later. It's not the big failures that haunt us, it's the little compromises, the missed workouts, the unread books, the broken promises to ourselves. But the good news is that cycle can be reversed. And it starts the moment you decide to honor your morning. Discipline in the morning is about keeping your word to yourself. You said you'd get up, you said you'd write, you said you'd read. So do it. Not because someone is watching, not because it's exciting, but because that's how you build trust with the person in the mirror. And once you trust yourself, you stop negotiating with excuses. You also discover that discipline isn't about punishment. It's not about restriction. It's about freedom. When you do what needs to be done early, you create space later for creativity, for peace, for excellence. You're no longer ruled by urgency. You start operating from vision. And there's no substitute for that kind of power. So don't wait for motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Build systems, simple, clear, repeatable actions that you commit to each morning, no matter how you feel. That's where the transformation happens. In the days when you don't want to, but you do it anyway. Start with something small. Wake up on time. Make your bed. Stretch. Read one page. Journal one thought. Exercise for 10 minutes. It's not about volume. It's about consistency. You're teaching your brain, this is who I am now. Someone who shows up. Someone who finishes what they start. Over time, that discipline becomes your edge. While others are drifting, you're grounded. While others are distracted, you're determined. While others wait for life to hand them opportunity, you've already built the foundation to seize it. The discipline of the morning doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your identity. You stop being someone who tries and starts being someone who does. And once you become that person, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities show up, confidence rises, doors open. And it all traces back to that first quiet decision to get up and take command of the day. Because the truth is simple. The one who owns their morning owns their life. And discipline is the key that unlocks it all. You either run the morning or the morning runs you. It's that simple. Life has a way of moving fast. If you don't take hold of your time, it slips right through your fingers. The morning is your opportunity to set the stage, to declare your intentions for the day. And if you don't do that, if you don't step into the day with purpose, then the demands, the noise, and the distractions of the world will gladly take that job for you. Most people don't start their day, they let the day start them. They roll out of bed, already behind, checking messages, scrolling, rushing to get ready. From the first moment, they're reacting. And once you begin that way, it's hard to find your footing again. You're trying to catch up, not lead. You're playing defense, not offense. That's what it means when the morning runs you. You've surrendered control before you've even had breakfast. But there's another way. You can choose to be the one in charge. You can decide that your day won't just happen to you, you will shape it. And that begins the moment you wake up, not an hour later, not after the rush settles. Right when your feet hit the floor, the decision is made. Am I taking control or am I handing it over? Now, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not saying every morning has to be a military operation. But I am saying that intentionality matters. The way you begin feeds your confidence. It reinforces who you believe you are. If you start with discipline, even in small ways, waking up on time, spending a few quiet minutes thinking or writing, reviewing your goals. You're telling yourself, I run this day. I don't wait for it to happen. I make it happen. That mindset spills into everything else. You're more patient in traffic. You're more prepared at work. You're more present with your family because you didn't start from chaos, you started from clarity. The people who run their mornings don't necessarily have more talent. They just have more structure. They've made a deal with themselves that the morning belongs to them, not to the outside world, not to social media, not to the phone or the news. It's their time to center, to learn, to grow, to prepare. And because of that, they operate from a place of strength. When challenges come, and they always do, they aren't rattled. They've already anchored themselves. The rest of the day becomes a continuation of that strength. The truth is, your first hour determines your next 10. If you give your first hour away to distraction or disorder, don't be surprised if you feel scattered all day. But if you use it with purpose, if you take control of it, the rest of the day tends to follow your lead. So ask yourself, who's running your morning? Is it your intention or your inbox? Your purpose or your panic? Because you can't have it both ways. Either you rise with clarity or you stumble through the fog of reaction. And the difference between those two is the difference between progress and frustration. This isn't just about time, it's about ownership. When you run the morning, you're practicing ownership over your life. You're reinforcing that your time matters, your energy matters, your dreams matter. You're saying, I won't be tossed around by the wind. I've got a compass. I know where I'm headed. That doesn't mean every day will go perfectly. Life happens. Some mornings you'll miss the mark. But the habit of starting with intention trains you to recalibrate quickly. You bounce back faster because you have a standard. You don't let one off day become a pattern. You get back up. You get back to leading. So don't underestimate how powerful it is to simply take command of the morning. It's not flashy. It won't earn you applause, but over time it will change the way you live. It will build discipline. It will build confidence. And it will build results. Because the one who runs their morning doesn't just win the day. They win the week, the month, the year, and eventually the life. It all starts with that simple daily choice. Take the wheel or sit in the back seat. Be the driver or be driven. The morning is yours if you claim it. So take it, run it, and watch what happens. Clarity is a rare commodity in a world that's constantly shouting for your attention. Most people wake up and step right into the noise. Texts, emails, news, opinions. From the moment their eyes open, their mind is already crowded. It's no wonder so many feel overwhelmed, anxious, and behind, even before breakfast. But there is a simple truth that separates those who lead their lives from those who are led by life. Quiet time in the morning. That calm, focused silence before the world wakes up is where clarity is born. And that clarity is something others spend their entire day chasing but never quite catch. When you begin your day in stillness, you begin it on your terms. There's no pressure to perform, no distractions pulling at your thoughts, no urgency forcing your decisions. It's just you, your mind, your goals, and your values. That kind of space is rare and powerful. In that silence, your priorities speak louder. Your thoughts are more organized. Your spirit is steadier. And most importantly, your day hasn't yet been hijacked by other people's agendas. Most people spend their days reacting to requests, reacting to problems, reacting to noise, and they wonder why they feel like they're running in circles. But when you carve out quiet time early, you're no longer reacting, you're directing. You begin to see what truly matters. You become more selective with your energy. You don't fall for every distraction because you've already had a conversation with your deeper self about what matters most. That clarity gives you an edge. It sharpens your decisions. It fuels your creativity. It calms your emotions. You're not scattered because you've already gathered yourself. You're not confused because you've already asked the hard questions in silence. What do I want today to mean? Where do I want to grow? Who do I want to become? These aren't questions you can answer in the middle of chaos. They require space. They require silence. They require stillness. And the morning is the best time to find it. This practice doesn't need to be complicated. It could be 10 minutes with a journal, a few moments in prayer, reading a page of something nourishing, sitting quietly with a cup of tea, listening to your thoughts settle like dust in a quiet room. What you do matters less than the fact that you pause, that you listen, that you claim your time before the noise does. And that pause doesn't just help in the morning, it echoes all day. When challenges come, you handle them with a clearer mind. When opportunities show up, you recognize them more quickly. When distractions arise, you filter them with more discernment. Why? Because you started your day with clarity, not confusion. Most people wake up and look outward first. They check the headlines, the notifications, the opinions of others. But those who grow, those who lead, those who live intentionally, they look inward first. Not to isolate themselves from the world, but to anchor themselves in it. They know that if they don't center themselves early, they'll spend the rest of the day off balance. You can't fake clarity. It comes from reflection, from asking, listening, writing, thinking. And if you don't make time for it, don't expect to find it by accident. The day only gets louder as it goes on. The pace picks up, the pressure builds. But if you've taken time early to be still, you're grounded. You're not swept away by the current. You've planted your feet, and here's the beauty. While others are scrambling for direction, you've already moving with purpose. While others are seeking peace, you've already found it. That quiet time becomes your advantage, not because it makes the day easier, but because it makes you stronger. You've started from a place of alignment. And when you're aligned, your energy is focused, your choices are wiser, and your progress is real. So give yourself that gift. Before the rush, before the demands, before the screens, give yourself silence. Give yourself space to think, to feel, to set intention. Because that simple act, taken daily, can change your entire life. Quiet time in the morning isn't just a habit, it's a strategy. A way to rise above the noise so you can hear what truly matters. And once you start living from that place of clarity, you'll never want to go back to the fog. While the rest of the world is still chasing it, you will already have it. And that makes all the difference. Momentum doesn't just show up. It's built piece by piece, decision by decision, habit by habit. And one of the most powerful ways to build that momentum is through morning rituals. What you do in the first hour of your day has a ripple effect. It sets things in motion. Your attitude, your discipline, your energy. And when you get those things moving in the right direction early, it becomes much easier to keep them moving throughout the day. Most people live like a car stuck in neutral. They want to go somewhere, but there's no traction, no rhythm, no structure. And it's not because they lack talent. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they never take control of the beginning of the day. They leave the morning to chance. They hit snooze, they rush, they react, and they expect to feel focused, productive, confident. But how can you expect the engine to run when you never turn the key? Rituals change that. Rituals are like a spark that ignites the day. They're not about being rigid or robotic. They're about consistency. They're about building momentum before the world even knows you're awake. Because once you start moving with intention, something shifts inside you. You stop dragging yourself through the day and start carrying a rhythm, a tempo, a personal standard. Your morning ritual doesn't need to be long or complicated. It needs to be yours. It might be 5 minutes of gratitude, 10 minutes of exercise, reading a few pages of something that lifts your thinking, planning your goals, reviewing your priorities, speaking words that realign your mindset. Whatever it is, make it intentional. Make it daily, because repetition creates movement, and movement creates belief. Momentum is emotional, it's psychological, it's spiritual. When you do something early that aligns with the person you're trying to become, you feel it. You walk taller, you think sharper, you speak with more certainty, not because the ritual changed the world, but because it changed you. You're no longer approaching the day from a place of uncertainty. You've already proven before 8 a.m. that you're serious about your life. And that proof matters. You build self-trust through ritual. You teach your brain, when I say I'll do something, I do it. That trust becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes action. And before long, you're not just starting strong, you're staying strong. Not because everything is easy, but because you've already built up the strength early. Momentum also gives you speed. When you've established a rhythm in the morning, you don't waste time throughout the day trying to find your focus. You're already in motion. And as anyone who's ever pushed a car knows, it's hardest at the start. But once it's rolling, it doesn't take as much effort to keep it going. That's what a good morning ritual does. It gets you rolling so you're not using your whole day to warm up. Without a ritual, every day starts from zero. You have to build energy, intention, focus, all from scratch. That's exhausting. But with a ritual, you build on yesterday's momentum. You don't just wake up, you rise. You don't just hope for a good day, you build one right from the start. And here's the real secret. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you become while doing it. You become someone who values time, someone who honors commitments, someone who invests in growth. That identity starts to take root. And once it does, your life begins to rise with it. So whether it's 5 minutes or 50, make your morning matter. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Give yourself a system that keeps you moving forward. Because when the ritual is strong, the day is strong. And when the day is strong, the week is strong. And soon enough, you've built a life of momentum. All because you chose to start each day with purpose. That's the power of a morning ritual. It's the silent force behind every lasting change, every bold move, every great achievement. And it starts with you every morning, choosing motion over delay, order over chaos, and discipline over drift. Do that, and the momentum will carry you farther than you ever imagined.